Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day episode of 500 Miles here. I'm your host, Adam Relkin here. Doing this alone again after we had two guests on the last 2 weeks. We had John Szulczewski and my good buddy Shadowbones14 on to discuss races. So this week, we come out of Kansas, and this was probably another contender for race of the year. There have been a lot of contenders, without a doubt, for potentially for what could be race of the year. And again, like it showed today. Like it just there just was great racing throughout the field, a lot of passing, which is what people want out of this next gen car. And again, like we had a great finish, like a lot of action, and that's what people want to see. And it's a shame that unfortunately TV ratings have been going down still because again, like this was good racing, and unfortunately people are missing out on good racing in the sport. So it ended up being Chase Elliott though who took home the victory and ends up getting his second win of the year. Locks himself into the round of eight after Kansas, which is the second round of the round of 12. And we'll go through the results here in a bit. So Chase Elliott, though, ended up winning on an epic last lap pass between between what was going on between up ahead between Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace. Like Bubba Wallace, he's leading the race. He's about to punch his ticket to the round of eight after being well below the cut line. And then right after that, Denny Hamlin, who doesn't seem to care in the moment and wants to race, and he wants to be a racer and not let his the guy who drives for him win. Which interesting philosophy in the scope of things, considering conflict of interest and all. But Denny said, even though I may own your car, I'm still going to race for the wins, and he moves true not Bubba all the way up the racetrack, and after that, Chase Elliott comes out on the bottom in 3 and 4 and takes the checkered flag over the rest of the field. So, and it was very interesting with how Denny was driving, because for those who may not have remembered, Denny Hamlin's power steering went out towards the end of the race, which as a result made things even, which I'd argue made things very impressive, considering that with a lack of power steering, you're not really going to be able to make the corners that well. But Denny was just doing the best he could, and I mean, he's not going to give you leeway, and knowing how he races, and that's how, that's how he rolls. So we'll go through the rest of the results here. Again, I thought this was a great race. It had a 90% on the Jeff Gluck poll, as it deserved. So, and we're not just going to talk about the racing that occurred at the finish. Like the racing all throughout the race is what makes it a good race, and that happened on Sunday. So I give it a good race. So again, through the results here, Denny Hamlin was second. He actually also got fastest lap, so that's another point. He actually scores more points than the winner of the race, in Chase Elliott. Christopher Bell finished third, Chase Briscoe fourth, and Bubba Wallace fifth. You had four Toyotas in the top five, but none of them could beat the Chevy. And then Kyle Larson was sixth, Tyler Reddick seventh, and then Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Shane Van Gisbergen, by the way, he got a top 10 on an oval on speed. And this wasn't just him avoiding wrecks or things. Like, this was all on speed. So, like, I don't understand why people were discrediting SVG's run, because it was awesome watching him have that much speed out there, because he really shows that he's really started to show that he's starting to put something together on these ovals. And I really, in particular, am excited to see what he can do, because it's going to be a lot of fun, I think, seeing SVG next year as well. And then again, I mean, when you go through some who dominate the field, like Denny Hamlin, he dominated the whole race, and he still dominated, like, despite having a lack of a power steer, which, again, it's absolutely incredible. Like, absolutely incredible that he was able to pull that off, even though he didn't win the race. And then we go through some of the other results, like Todd Gilliland finished in 12th, Ty Dillon 13th. These guys all had some good runs. Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher, Eric Jones. Like, I mean, some guys, on the other hand, they did not have the finishes that they needed. Joey Logano, for example, 21st, he was involved in an incident late in the race. He is only about like 14 something points to the cut line right now. And because of that, he's potentially in a little bit of jeopardy of being eliminated at the Roval. Because, look, for those who may not be aware, the Roval is not one of Logano's best tracks. So, if I'm Logano, I'd be a little concerned, especially because you never know what can happen at the Roval. But yeah, I mean, look at some more of the results. Like Ryan Blaney, back at 24th, wasn't a good day for him. Like, same with Ty Gibbs. Like, one of the most interesting moments, and we'll talk about this right here, was Carson Hocevar, who got in 29th. He's actually been fined $50,000 by NASCAR because he took off while the safety crews were trying to assist him. And because of that, that's a no-no, and you can't really do that around safety officials. Like, you tried taking off while they were assisting. It kind of reminds me a little bit about what happened with Kurt Busch in 2012. In 2012 at Talladega. But here, I don't really have much of an opinion. I haven't really been able to formulate one yet, considering that this literally just happened. But there seems to be a consensus that the penalty's too harsh. It should be noted, though, that Carson Hocevar has amassed $150,000 in fines ever since he's made it to the Cup Series full time, which was last year. He got fined for spinning Harrison Burton under caution at Nashville last year. Then got fined for something else. Don't remember what it was, but still, like, the point still stands. Like, it seems like they're really trying to get Hocevar. Seems like NASCAR itself even then is trying to get Hocevar under control more. Yes, and again, I mean, he's a young kid. I mean, he's only 22, I think. He's only 22 years old. They want to make sure that, he keeps everything himself together. A lot of drivers have had issues with him, but he's a young talent, and I really hope for the best for him because he definitely is someone who deserves, who definitely will be a winner in the future. And then one of the biggest things that happened in the race was take a look at what he did. Zane Smith. That was interesting, seeing that happen, because we have never seen a flip at Kansas in the next-gen car. We have never seen that. So what happened was John Hunter Nemechek had made contact with Zane Smith. Smith gets in the wall. John Hunter Nemechek, I think, then keeps going up against him. And then Zane, the car is like this, and then it just goes on the wall like this with my hands. And then he rides it for a bit, and then starts tumbling at the end of the banking at turn 4, which wow, that was a big shock right there. I was not expecting a rollover like that, but thank goodness Zane is okay. Like, that's what's most important. But a lot of memes came out of it, and I'm surprised as well because Urinating Tree even seemed to admit that the racing was good, considering that I know he's been very critical of NASCAR lately, especially after the New Hampshire ratings dropped. So, little something there. And then Josh Berry had also wrecked out. That was a shame for him because his luck has never been on his side, has just not been on his side as of late. It really, his luck has just not been on his side. Like, something's got to give for Josh Berry at some point. And then we look at some more of the finishers, like the only open car in the field, J.J. Yaley, who finished about 16 laps down, I think. If I'm doing the math right, no, 12 laps down. Okay, he finished 12 laps down. Unfortunate for him. And then again, we look through guys like that also had issues, like Ricky Stenhouse, AJ Allmendinger, Cody Ware, like a lot of other things, a lot of other issues coming up with some of these guys. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, and then like again, I mean, glad that Zane Smith's all right. That's what matters the most out of all this. And I think maybe now, like like again, like with the Cup race, like the racing was just very good all around, and that's just what I think people can really ask for the most. And like I just think that, and Zane Smith also took a bit of Zane Smith had also taken some digs at he had also taken some digs at John Hunter Nemechek as well, and seems like there's some beef between the two of them. Now, I think it would be a good time to also talk about the, the playoff standings. So with the wins, Chase Elliott has locked himself in alongside Ryan Blaney, who is already locked in. Right now, above the cut line is Kyle Larson with 54 points, Denny Hamlin 48, Christopher Bell 44, William Byron 40, Chase Briscoe 21, and Joey Logano with 13, not 14, like I previously mentioned. So right now, Logano is above the cut line, but only by 13 points. Below the cut line is Ross Chastain with negative 13, Bubba Wallace negative 26, Tyler Reddick negative 29, and Austin Cindric negative 48. I would say the bottom three are must win, in my opinion. Cindric especially. Cindric mathematically is a must win no matter what. But Ross Chastain, if he can survive the race and say maybe something bad happens to Logano, he could make his way into the round of 8. But Ross Chastain is also not really the best at the Roval as well. So even though Logano and Chastain both aren't really that good at the Roval, the problem is, are the guys below them going to be able to make up points, which I really just don't see right now. I don't see how that can happen right now. So, like, I'm actually going to say that, and while maybe you could say someone like Reddick could win at the Roval, I just don't see it. Like, I just feel that with the position we're in right now, Logano will get into the round of 8, even though he's not good at the Roval, because you look at who's below the cut line, how many points do, while Bubba and Reddick need, they 23-11 really had a bad race at New Hampshire. Had Bubba won, he'd be in and Logano would be out and Briscoe would be the last guy in. But yeah, just something to kind of point out a little bit. But yeah, so I think now would be a good time to move on to the Xfinity race, which I'll be honest, wasn't really the best. But we did have a surprise winner, or somewhat of a surprise winner. This was his second win of the year, and it was Brandon Jones winning. Brandon Jones, who won at Kansas, won over Connor Zilisch. He had the best lap of the day. He didn't lead the most laps, but he led about a quarter of the race. Referring to Brandon Jones, he actually led more than Connor Zilisch, funny enough. But Brandon Jones, he always knows how to. He always knows how to perform very well at Kansas. Like, that just is easily his best track, and he showed it. Like, he finished in first, punched his ticket to the next round. Connor Zilisch has actually also been locked in automatically to the next round of the playoffs, despite that he has not won in this round yet. Almirola, for example, won at Bristol. Then this week it was Brandon Jones. So we'll go through some more of the results here. And maybe we'll look at the playoff points again, because this is also a cutoff race for the Xfinity Series. Like, some interesting runs here, like Butterbean, Brendan Queen. And I know some people got worried with Butterbean that he wasn't going to do good in higher series because the equipment he has in ARCA is overpowered. But he showed it. He was top 10 like the entire day. Like, he really was top 10 for the entire race, and he was fast all the way around. So, like, I feel that maybe that's been disproven, and I mean, he's won it. He's swept both races in ARCA at Kansas. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But, like, I don't think people really should worry about Butterbean here. Like, I think he's really shown that he's got what it takes. And then Dean Thompson finished in 10th. Another amazing run for Thompson. I really hope that he stays back with Sam Hunt next year, because he's really been having great runs in the 26 car. We then go through some more results, like Kyle Sieg in the top 20. Wish Raja Karuth had a better run. Feel like Raja's just such a nice guy. I really wanted to have good runs, but 17 like just hasn't really been there. And then you look at some more finishers. Leland Honeyman 21st, Patrick Staropoli in 22nd. It was nice to see him back. He qualified in 11th as well, which that was a big surprise to see Staropoli qualify that high, and really nice to see as well. And then we go through some more finishers. Josh Williams, Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Ellis, Parker Retzlaff, like Austin Green 29th, Mason Massey, like Jeremy Clements, like some of these guys had some issues late in the race. Cole Raz, I know, finished unfortunately in 35th, 5 laps down. There wasn't really a whole lot going on in the race. Justin Bonsignor, though, had a really hard crash. Thank goodness he's okay, though, which, thank goodness he's okay. We'll see him again, I believe, at Martinsville. But yeah, just not a whole lot to talk about in the Xfinity side of things. Just there wasn't enough really eventful going on there. And then we'll go on to the ARCA race at Kansas, the second to last race of the ARCA Menard Series season. So, on that side of things, we'll go through the results here in Kansas. So, Butterbean ended up taking the victory over Gio Ruggiero. And then Leland Honeyman got third, Chris Wright fourth, Taylor Reimer in fifth, Mason Mitchell sixth, Thad Moffitt seventh, Andrew Patterson in eighth, Jason Kitzmiller ninth, and Isabella Robusta running out the top 10. So, really great run for Taylor Reimer as well, considering this is her first ever. This was her first ever mile-and-a-half race in the ARCA Menards series. She's very talented in USAC, and with the Buzzballs number 70 at Toyota, she really had a great run. So I'm really happy for her, because we've seen her in some races this year, but she really showed some awesome speed. And then we'll go through some of the other finishers, like Tyler Reif, who was the first car a lap down at 13th. Patrick Staropoli and Eli Falcon were 11th and 12th on the lead lap. Ryan Rowlett, he finished in 14th. He had a decent run in 67. Tony Cosentino was top 15. Takuma Koga 16th. Like, feel bad for Andy Jankowiak because he had some issues at the end that unfortunately took him out. I was hoping maybe we'd see him at Toledo again, but it seems like that this was his last race of the year, and they're going to prepare for next year. Corey Day also crashed out running this race. This was his last of 4 scheduled ARCA races in the Spire Motorsports. LeVar Scott, he also had an issue. I really feel bad for Bobby Dale Earnhardt because he was having a great run. He was up there with guys like the 23, the 2, and others for a little bit towards the end of like the rest of the best in that group. So like, I feel really bad because like he was having such a great run, and then unfortunately tire went down. Bobby gets in the wall, and unfortunately a great run gone wrong for Bobby. Because yeah, I just feel really bad for him. I hope we see him more next year. I really would love to. But yeah. And then also we look at, but yeah, there ended up being 29 cars in that race. So again, there wasn't really a whole lot to talk about, but it was kind of eventful. Just interesting how we had all those restarts at the end. I know Thad Moffitt also spun out. This was his last scheduled race of the year. Same for Chris Wright in the ARCA series. But we'll talk about some of these guys in a little bit. But I think it would also be a good time while we're on the subject of ARCA to discuss the silly season side of things for the ARCA Menards series. So on the silly season side of things, and by the way, credit to Mark Crystal for this article he did about ARCA silly season. Some teams are still working on their plans, but there are some that are set. Like, for example, we have Nitro Motorsports, which is taking over Venerini. I'm quite surprised, though, that they're keeping the numbers. Like, 70 was expected, but then they also but they're keeping the 20, 25, and 55. Like, that comes as a big surprise to me. I was not expecting them to keep the Venerini numbers. And also the 15, like, which will be a part-time car. So, like, I'm surprised by that decision. I thought Nitro was gonna try to make their own identity with numbers, do something like maybe 90, which they do in Trans Am, maybe 80, like higher numbers. Like I thought they were gonna. I kind of thought that Nitro was gonna try their own thing with number identity. And within the Nitro scene, it looks like Thomas Annunziata and Isabella Robusto could be the full-time drivers. There's also the possibility of Leland Honeyman, who was also rumored in this article. But yeah, I mean, should be interesting. And then Pinnacle also will be running 2 cars full-time. Christian McGee will, as Crystal mentions, will run all the races that he is old enough to. Joe Gibbs Racing will also field Max Reeves full-time in East. And then you look at more guys like CR7, Jason Kitzmiller will run full-time in the 97. Isaac Kitzmiller will also run full-time in East again. And then, I mean, you look at Maples Motorsports. Michael Maples will run full-time in his 99 again, and then he also wants to get a full-time driver in the 67, which, there's some people that might try coming up with the funding for that, like Ryan Roulette, Ryan Vargas, Shane Backus, like a lot of these guys who have ties there, or maybe someone from outside of the team that may want to run. But there's a lot of different possibilities with that organization. And then Maples also wants to run a 3rd car part-time as well. And then on the Class Motorsports side of things, Andy Jakoyak is going to run about 10 races again next year. And Brayton Laster is also trying to return as well to Wayne Peterson. So Mark Crystal, I just want to mention you did a great job with that article. Keep up the great work. And maybe I got to get back to writing more racing-related stuff again at this point. Yeah, maybe I clearly got to. But yeah, just some interesting stuff there. And then on the ARCA West side of things, Trevor Huddleston ended up winning at Madeira. Some pretty interesting stuff like that. Kyle Keller was second. He was catching Huddleston at the end, just couldn't make the pass on him, though he was going in really hard and deep into the corners on him at the end. We go through some more of these guys, like Joey East, nice to see him back in 5th. Jaron Giannini, who was the pole sitter, finished in 6th. Andrew Chapman was 7th. Eric Nascimento rounded out the top 10. And then you had some other guys in the field, like Monty Tipton in the 21. I believe he's going to be running the 4 car for Nascimento at Las Vegas and Phoenix. I think I saw something about that. And then Jake Bowman, unfortunately for him, his engine blew on the first lap of the race, which unfortunately ended his day. And then Nick Jonadis unfortunately wrecked out. Same with Cody Dennison. Todd Souza also was involved in that incident with Dennison as well. But yeah, just something that I also want to talk about. It was nice to see Huddleston win. It seems like Huddleston's got a really great shot at the West title. There's 2 more races left in that series. You have the Las Vegas Bull Ring, as well as the finale in Phoenix. So that's pretty much what's going on there out west. I think now would actually be a good time to move on to the Charlotte Roval, which there's a lot to talk about regarding the Roval. So on the Roval side of things, so for the Roval, this is the last road course of the year in the in NASCAR, and for the Roval, I mean, you got for the Cup Series, you got 37 cars. The only notable entrant though in the field is the 66 of Josh Bilicki. Nice to see him back again in the 66. And again, Bilicki had a pretty good run for the equipment he had in the race last year, so I really think that he could do something with the equipment he's got. But I feel like I would say that it's SVG's race, but SVG, it's a hybrid of an oval and a road course. So something could maybe happen. like with someone. Like AJ Allmendinger's a real king of the Roval, so like maybe AJ Allmendinger could finally have something for SVG this week. Who knows? And speaking of AJ Allmendinger, I do want to mention on Door Bumper Clear that Freddie Kraft hinted that AJ would be driving part-time for Junior Motorsports next year, so it seems like Colleague isn't going to have like an all-star car in Xfinity, and they may want him to go run for JRM, from what it seems like. But yeah. We'll go to the Xfinity entry list now, which this is actually the largest entry list on the year for the Xfinity Series. There are 42 cars entered, and we'll go through the entrants here. And this is going to be a night race as well, the first ever night race on the Charlotte Roval, which that's actually going to be pretty exciting. Like, I'm glad that I'm really glad that we are running a road course at night. It is something that I think we really have wanted to see for some time. But yeah, we'll go through the entrants here. Like notable ones like Alex Labay making his last start of the year for SS Greenlight in the 07. Connor Mosack in the 9. This is the 5th JRM card. Curious to see what he'll be able to do. Daniel Hemrick is in the 11 for Colleague Racing, and this is also going to be his first of 2 more starts for Colleague and Xfinity. He's also scheduled to race at Las Vegas next week. Corey Day in the 17. Again, Eric Almirola in the 19. Kaz Growler in the 24, his last of 3 starts for Sam Hunt Racing. They will have Trevor Bayne in the 24 next week at Las Vegas. Andrew Patterson, this is a last-minute deal in the 32. He is making an attempt in the Xfinity Series for the first time in the 32. So I am curious about that. And then Austin Hill in the 35, not the same one who runs the 21. He's in the 35 again. Josh Williams is in the 45. Preston Pardus in the 50. Really nice to see Preston back. He really runs great at these road courses. Single car team out of Florida. Sage Karam then in the 53. Nice to see Sage back. Thomas Annunziata in the 70. Austin Green in the 87. We have not seen the 87 attempt a race since Talladega in the spring. Josh Balicki then in the 91. And Leland Honeyman in the 92. So I feel like this is a really big entry list, but I'm trying to think like who could DNQ, because 4 cars will be going home. I'm trying to think here. Like, I feel like I'd have to, because this is a bit tricky, because I have to predict 4 guys to DNQ, and like 4 cars are going home. But if I look at the owner points, I feel like the 50 of Pardus can get himself in on speed. I'm not sure how I feel about Leland Honeyman, maybe. But I'm thinking for the DNQs here. And I do think that 87 will make it in as well on speed, because Austin Green, I think, can really be trusted. I think I'm going to go 92, 35, 32, wait, no. 92, 35, 32, and 14, I believe, will DQ. I think Sage Karam will make it in on speed again. I just don't know if Leland will be able to get the 3rd DGM car in on speed. I mean, Leland's a great driver, no doubt. It's just that because there's a lot of cars in the field, I don't really know. I just don't really know how I feel here. But yeah. Yeah, just something that I'm thinking. And I think, and also for the first time, I'm not sure exactly whose decision it was, but the Truck Series is also going to the Roval. And on that entry list, and this is going to be the start of, oh yeah, I forgot something else I was going to do for Xfinity. I forgot to look at the playoff points for Xfinity. So we'll look at the playoff points here as well for Xfinity, because this week is going to be a cutoff race. So Zilish is in on points. He's locked in. He's locked in on points. For some reason, the thing does not show Brandon Jones is locked in, even though he won the race. I am not sure why it does not show him as locked in, but but Connor Zilish, he is locked in. So yeah, Zilish is locked in. He's 105 points to the good. Brandon Jones is obviously locked in with his win. Justin Allgaier, he's 68 points to the good. I would imagine if he simply just started the race, he'd be locked in. Like, I don't really see how Allgaier wouldn't be locked in, considering he's 68 to the good. Sam Mayer's 43 to the good. I feel like within the race, both Allgaier and Sam Mayer could easily lock themselves into the next round. And then the cutoff line, you got Taylor Gray, 16, Sheldon Creed, 12, Carson Foppel, 9, Jesse Love, 5. I feel like with Carson Foppel, I should also point out that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is trying to get Carson Foppel full-time next year, and not just, he is splitting the one next year with Connor Zilish. They want him full-time with another, they want him to run full-time by splitting the season with another team, which Dale Jr. looks like is trying to do. So, again, like, below the cut line right now, though, is Nick Sanchez, 5 points below. Should be noted, it was just announced that Nick Sanchez will be returning to the 48 for Big Machine next year. Austin Hill is 7 points below. Harrison Burton is 8 points below, and Sammy Smith is 14 below. So, nobody is really, so, like, with the lowest guy being only 14 points out, I feel like I could argue that it's anyone's game, really, here. Like, if you make one mistake, you're in trouble. Like, I think that's the point that we're at right now. One mistake and you're in trouble for this week at, like, that. I feel like that's going to be the consensus for the Xfinity side of things. One mistake and you're in trouble. Even though, because, again, like, the lowest guy is 14 points out. Like this isn't like Cup where Cindric's out by like 48. So, like, this could get really interesting. And again, like, we'll go on to the truck entry list now. Some interesting entrants there. 36 trucks are entered, so it is a full field. We'll go through here. So we got Brent Cruz in the 1 truck. Ben Meyer in the 02. Carter Fartuch in the 2 truck. Connor Zilish in the 7th. He'll be pulling double duty. Chris Wright in the 16 truck for Bill McAnally. That is a 5th McAnally truck. He is going to be running this race and Talladega next week. Will Rogers in the 20 truck. Nice to see him back. Josh Rayome in the 22. Mason Maggio in the 33. Josh Balicki in the 41. Bailey Curry in the 45. Again, Timmy Hill in the 56. Nice to see Timmy back. This might be his last start of the year unless he's running Talladega. Wesley Slimp in the 62 truck. That is the 2nd Omar Friesen truck. Tyler Tomasi in the 69 truck for MBM. He is replacing an injured Derek White, who's still sore from his wreck at New Hampshire. Parker Kligerman in the 75. Nice to see Parker in that team back. Corey LaJoie in the 77. So, it would be interesting here. I know looking like this could get interesting here. I know that that Heim is most certainly going to be battling for the win, but Connor Zilish, like, the reason I say that this could get interesting is because people in the road course races have expected Corey Heim to lose them. But this week, like, and we know Zilish is going to be running, but I think Zilish could really, I just don't know if with how Corey Heim has just been overpowered at even the road courses this year, I don't know if Zilish is going to have it for Corey Heim, which would honestly be pretty funny thinking about it. So, I just don't really know. Like, I feel like it's something that we really can. I think it's just something we really could see here. But yeah, Yeah, it should be interesting what's going to happen in the truck race. I think now would be a good time to move on to the ARCA race, and then we'll talk about some other things generalized in the sport. So there are 25 cars entered for the finale at Toledo. All Butterbean Brendan Queen has to do this week to win the title is just start the race. He's gotten to a point where he can clinch, and yeah. I think we'll go through some of the entrants here on the entry list. So we got Nate Moeller in the 0, Willie Mullins in the 3. Again, nice to see him back. Matt Kemp in the 9, Ed Pampa in the 10 again, Tony Cosentino in the 11, Takuma Koga in the 12, Max Reeves in the 18, Julian DaCosta in the 20, Tyler Reif in the 23. I believe this is going to be his last start of the year. Taylor Reimer now in the 25. Presley Sora in the 31. Nice to see him racing again. Shane Backus in the 67. Justin Rothberg from Trans Am, I think, in sports cars, making his debut. Tristan McKee in the 82 for Pinnacle. Becca Monopoly in the 85. I feel like I should highlight that a City Garage Motorsports also is going to be running 2 cars full-time in ARCA East next year, with Monopoly being one of those drivers, and Quinn Davis in the 5 car. And then Alex Clubb in the 86. Jackson McLaren making his last start of the year in the 95 car. Jeff McConey in the 03. And yeah, I mean, Toledo hasn't... this is a good car count for Toledo when you think about it. 2023, we had only 18 cars. Last year, we had about 21, I want to say. So getting 25 for the finale at Toledo, which has kind of struggled for car counts the last 2 years. This is good, because this is kind of similar to the car count we had when we moved the finale back to Toledo in 2022. So, considering that Toledo is basically ARCA's playground, I think that this really is something that to be excited for. At Toledo. Unfortunately, the race starts an hour before the Xfinity race, but whatever. So now I think would also be a good time to talk about some nitty-gritty within NASCAR. There has actually been a crew chief change last minute on the 8 car of Kyle Busch. We know we talked about last week that Randall Burnett was going to be leaving the 8 and going to Zillishton Cup next year, but it was just announced that Randall Burnett will be out of the car for the rest of the year, despite the plan being to keep him in the car. Andy Street, who crew chiefs the 33 car whenever it runs part-time in Cup, will slide over to the 8 for the rest of the year and crew chief for Kyle Busch. I'm thinking they want to maybe test to see what's going to happen. Was Kyle the problem? Was Randall the problem? The 8 has had some awful runs the last 2 weeks. And it's sad because, I just want Kyle Busch to be able to run good again, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Even if he goes to a better team, I just don't see Kyle Busch being able to do that. But yeah, just something that I kind of wanted to put out there. Now, this does not mean Andy Street will be Kyle's crew chief next year, but just something perhaps to float on your mind, because he could perhaps be it, but we're not 100% sure yet. It could be maybe Danny Stockman, who's Jesse Love's crew chief in Xfinity. Maybe RCR gets someone else from outside. A lot of different options for them. And then also, it was also announced that NASCAR has fired one of their race directors, Tucson Hamilton, who, this is actually more significant than I think people realize, because he also has had a lot of influence in the sport, especially when it comes to schedule making. But a lot of people have been pretty critical about Hamilton's decisions. A lot of people have been critical of his decision making as an official. People felt he'd always take too long on cautions. So it's just again that it's just that we could really see it's just that again I'm curious what's going to happen with officiating. I believe Tim Berman is now going to be taking over officiating for the rest of the year. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, And then there's also been the talk that NASCAR might actually indeed go back to a full season format, which I'm open to it. I know in the past I've said, what if we find a balance between what we have now and the playoff and the chase, while also trying to make it as legitimate as possible. I'm open to full season. Like, I'm open to it. Like, and it is a possibility, I think, at this point, which is pretty surprising. But again, I mean, we talked about it last week how NBC decided to step out of the rooms in some of the decision making. So I think that it is entirely possible that we may actually have a full season format. And then, I mean, there's been more talk that NASCAR is going to 750 horsepower next year. Brad Keselowski mentioned it on Stacking Pennies with Corey LaJoy. Like, I really think that all of a sudden NASCAR's starting to really give more to the fans than before. Like, I've noticed it. And I'm curious, was New Hampshire a big wake-up call for them? Like, it's what I'm kind of thinking about. Like, I'm kind of thinking maybe that this was a wake-up call going in. But yeah, another thing I wanted to also highlight on was trying to actually remember. There's also been that whole hell yeah thing that NASCAR has had interest in terms of like promotion for 2026. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I feel like it's not really something unique enough, but if it's going to be part of a massive marketing scheme, marketing deal for next year, then I'm open to it. Like, I mean, 2021, like NASCAR, they had the best season ever marketing campaign, which was also was a Fox thing too, but the marketing in 2021 with best season ever was easily some of the best marketing that NASCAR's done in the past years. So I just want to point that out. So I'm curious what's going to come out of that. And then there's also something that Dale Jr. mentioned that NASCAR is going to be giving more practice next year, which I think is great. Hey, top teams, I just want to say thank you for actually letting NASCAR do this, because you guys, I know, have been the biggest holdup on there being more practice. But it seems like it really does seem like that this is what's going to happen. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think it is great, like, that there's going to be more practice. Like, if it is true, it's going to help some of these guys, these rookies especially, do better. Like, those who need more track time and experience. Like, this I think would be good. And it really would be good. I mean, but yeah. Uh, I think that's actually going to be it for today. I can't really think of anything else going on. But I'm going to be wrapping up here. I'll try to have another guest on next week, and we will probably try to stay Tuesday. I just wasn't really in the mood to do this episode last night. But we're going to go on again next week after the Roval and then previewing Las Vegas. So that's going to be it for this episode of 500 Miles, guys. I'm your host, Adam Relkin, and I will see you guys next week after the Roval, previewing Las Vegas. See you guys around.